Hi, Lorene Uppel.
Hi, Daniel Uppel.
Hi, I'm Caitlin Uppel.
Hello all. Today I'd like to talk to you about the dangers of texting and driving. A little cliche, I know, but personally I think the importance of this subject is really understated. So being on your phone is a major distraction from driving. On average, it takes most people 5 seconds to take their eyes off the road or send a text. At 55 miles per hour, that equates to driving the full length of a football field with your eyes closed. Which that was a statistic from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. Everyone listening in right now is assumedly old enough to operate a vehicle as well as own a mobile device. There is a very high chance that we are all guilty of having glanced down at our devices while driving at least once or twice. However, we should all be aware of the dangers in doing so and be proactive in changing our habits to make the roads safer for us as well as those around us. And I'd like to share with you a few of the issues and their causes surrounding the topic, along with the ways that we can be productive in changing our habits. So first off, it impairs the speed of your reaction time. Texting and driving is more debilitating than driving while under the legal limit of alcohol influence. According to a study conducted by Car and Driver magazine, who compared the results of texting to the effects of drunk driving on the same day under the exact same circumstances, they found that the distance and time it took to react was far greater and longer while using a cell phone than to read or send text messages than while being impaired. It took almost a full second longer for the driver to become aware of his surroundings and hit the brakes. And seeing as he was driving at 70 miles per hour, he traveled an extra 70 feet than he would have if he had stopped a second sooner. In the US, 77% of adults and 55% of teens believe that they have the skills to manage texting while driving. Another study from the NHTSA. And in the study, the subject had no idea that using his phone would slow down his reaction time so much. Like most folks, we all assume that we're pretty good drivers, but in this case, the results proved otherwise. When you text and drive, you're also much more likely to get into an accident, and you're 23% more likely to be involved in an accident when texting and driving. On average, about 9 people are killed per day, and more than 100,000 are injured. In an Anchorage news article from 2017, a teenager in Anchorage, Alaska was texting behind the wheel when he ran a red light and killed a 27-year-old mother of 2. As a result, he was convicted by a grand jury for manslaughter as well as a felony texting while driving charge. It would make sense that being vigilant and giving your full attention to the task at hand, driving, would be the most substantial and effective way to avoid accidents. The leading cause for all these issues that drivers experience can also primarily be attributed to the fact that if you're looking at the screen, you're not looking at the road. You can't see what's taking place around you, which is detrimental to anyone who is in your vicinity, seeing as it only takes a split second for someone or something to alter what's in your path. Driving relies heavily on visual awareness. According to a statistic from the NHTSA again, it only takes 3 seconds after a driver looks away to crash. With yours and other safety on the line, not to mention your personal record and your bank account, since you'll have to pay for any damages that occur, it's much better to practice safer methods of driving and as well as institute new rules and regulations to help keep us all in check. One possible way to reduce cell phone activity would be to implement company policies between employers and employees. A sound policy will help drivers understand what's expected of them and how expectations will be enforced. The rules and exceptions need to be defined between employer and employee. They need to know what will not or will be allowed. For example, some companies could allow hands-free Bluetooth while others don't. And afterwards, they could explain what would happen if the rules are broken. Companies could probably issue write-ups suspensions, or possible terminations for violations of the agreement. This method would keep drivers accountable for their actions, seeing as they have a higher personal stake in it. It's much more motivational since we all have to work for a living. And if we work towards training people on the effects of distracted driving, as well as how to monitor those who engage in it, either by showing them examples of what happens whenever you text and drive, or training them on how to use monitoring technology. That way we can more accurately guarantee an individual's safety. Another solution to help minimize phone usage is having states pass new laws that administer major fines and jail time if caught operating a mobile device while driving. Currently, driving while texting is against the law in Missouri for motorists who are under 21 years of age. This is a primary law, and novice drivers who are found guilty of texting while driving could face a $200 fine and 2 points on their driver's license, according to the state laws listed by the DMV. However, I think that we need to adjust it to include drivers over the age of 21 as well, and institute harsher penalties for repeated offenses. Nobody really wants to pay a lot of money or spend any time in jail for the simple act of looking down at a screen while driving down the highway. This is another excellent way of keeping drivers accountable because it provides a little extra incentive to follow the rules. Law enforcement is pretty usually vigilant about watching out for distracted drivers, but unfortunately, you can't see everything everyone does 24/7. And a good idea that cities could utilize would to be install traffic cameras on stoplights and road signs, so that way the areas that don't have much coverage could be better monitored. While these are only mere suggestions, I believe that in holding our drivers accountable for their actions, we can make a dramatic impact. As an overview, by being conscious of the issues that can arise when your attention strays from the road, paired with actively working to change your personal habits and monitoring the habits of everyone else, the number of accidents and casualties reported everywhere could significantly decrease. The key element to driving safely is keeping your eyes and your mind on the road. Text messaging, or just being on your phone in general, distracts any driver from that primary task. So the next time you're tempted to text, Snapchat, tweet, email, or otherwise type while driving, either ignore the urge or pull over. Surprisingly, nobody wants you rear-ending them or taking their life.